Hello everyone, welcome on back to y'all's favorite series on my channel, Crazy Canceled Marvel Movies. We're going to be talking about so much great stuff, so yeah, make sure to like and subscribe and let's jump right on into it, no bullshit. Raimi vs. Venom Movie. After the decent success of Spider-Man 3, Sony quickly came up with new innovative ideas to bank off of. One of their first ideas was to bring back Venom for his very own standalone movie set in the Raimiverse, aka the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man film universe. Obviously, this movie had nothing to do with the 2018 Venom film, considering that this Venom film was in the works during 2008 to 2009-ish. Not too many details are known, but Sony kind of planned to resurrect Topher Grace's Venom from the third Spider-Man film. Some executives wanted to recast the role due to Topher Grace's mixed reception of the character, but others were against that. The villain was confirmed to be Carnage, and he was rumored to be played by the one and only Jim Carrey, which is a perfect casting in my opinion. The script was being written by Jacob Aaron Estes, but Sony rejected his pitch for the film. Sony then hired new writers, but their pitches were also rejected due to unknown reasons. Eventually, the writer of Spider-Man 4 was set to pen the script, but everything fell through when Sony announced in 2010 that Spider-Man 4 was officially cancelled. So therefore, the Raimi vs. Venom movie died with it. Sony reportedly only greenlit this film just to sell more merchandise. Then they never intended on the film actually being up to the standards of the Raimi Spider-Man films. Yeah, that one's kind of interesting in my opinion, but I don't know if I would have liked that or not. The Amazing Spider-Man 1.5. This cancelled Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man film would have definitely been interesting. According to the 2014 Sony email hack, Sony wanted to make an Amazing Spider-Man prequel that took place before the events of The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Sony reportedly loved Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone's chemistry on set so much that they wanted to make one more film with the two as the main leads. If you couldn't already tell, this movie would have been after The Amazing Spider-Man 1, but before The Amazing Spider-Man 2, therefore it would have been called The Amazing Spider-Man 1.5. No word on what the plot would have been about, but many leaks indicate that Green Goblin was going to be the main villain of this movie. Chris Cooper would have even reprised his role for this film. This idea was cancelled due to the Sony leak hack in 2014. Many executives at Sony have stated that most of the movies leaked during the email hack had to be cancelled due to legal reasons or something. Even if none of that ever happened, this film would have probably still been canned due to Sony and Disney's new deal with the Spider-Man in the MCU. I don't know if I would have liked that or not. It would have been weird to have a prequel to The Amazing Spider-Man 2 that would have essentially been The Amazing Spider-Man 3. That would have confused audiences. Fury. This canceled Marvel movie was announced around 2004-ish, and it was going to focus on Nick Fury, obviously, if you can already tell. DreamWorks, out of all studios, were in charge of developing this film, although it would have not been animated and it would still been live action. So that would have been kind of weird, DreamWorks doing a live action Marvel movie, yeah. This movie would have also been the first movie in the MCU. George Clooney was rumored to take on the role, but everything fell through for unknown reasons. Ultimately, Marvel didn't think, though, that a Nick Fury movie would sell the best. Gambit. This one hurts. In 2014, 20th Century Fox announced that a solo Gambit movie was currently in development. Many fans were very excited, and even more people were hyped once they found out that Channing Tatum would be starring as the popular character. Eventually, a release date was given of October 7, 2016. Multiple directors and writers were attached to the film, but a lot of them left due to creative differences. Ultimately, the film got stuck in development hell due to multiple rejected scripts and visions for the film. All hope was lost for a while, but the project got picked back up in late 2017. 20th Century Fox, after a while, finally greenlit a new script and filming was set for mid-2018. Unfortunately, right before the movie officially started production, the film was completely cancelled due to the Disney and Fox acquisition. Many Fox executives begged Disney to pay for the film and try to keep it alive, as so much work had already been done on it, but they ultimately said no. Channing Tatum has stated multiple times that Gambit was a passion project of his and that he hated to see the film get canned. He even said that he would take on the role in the MCU, but that idea is up in the air. There is a small chance we see him appear in Deadpool 3, but don't get your hopes up. The New Mutants 2 and 3. Before filming on The New Mutants began, Fox planned a trilogy focusing solely on the New Mutants. Fox was very confident in the New Mutants for odd reasons, so they greenlit 2 sequels before filming of the first movie even began. Scripts for the 2 movies were even written, but they never leaked, so we don't know a ton of plot details. The writer of the trilogy did say, though, that the New Mutants 2 was going to be about an alien invasion, and the third film was going to be about supernatural demons. Fox also planned on implementing the New Mutants into the larger X-Men universe. They wanted those New Mutant characters to cross over with Simon Kinberg's X-Men movies, which doesn't make a ton of sense since Kinberg's stories X-Men characters took place in the 80s and 90s, while the New Mutants took place in 2020. Overall, a New Mutants movie wasn't something that should have ever been greenlit in the first place, at least in my opinion. I'm sorry if you're a New Mutants fan. Magic was the only entertaining part of that movie. Hopefully we see her return in Deadpool 3. Mantis and Drax. After the success of Guardians 2, James Gunn pitched to Kevin Feige a Mantis and Drax solo film. Just to be clear, this would have been separate from the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special we eventually got in 2022. This movie would have been a theatrical release and not focused on Christmas. We don't know what this movie would have been about, but yeah. Feige politely rejected as he didn't think it was necessary to the overall Infinity Saga story. Obviously, this movie did kind of getting made with Guardians of the Galaxy, the holiday special, because that was essentially a Mantis and Drax solo film. So, happy ending there. Namor, or Namor, whatever you want to call him. Not much is known about this movie, but in 2004, Marvel announced that a Namor movie was officially in development. A release date was set for sometime in 2007, but the project was cancelled in 2005 due to rights issues. It's rumored that Marvel only announced this film just because they could. The more movies they announced, then the more spike in merchandise sales came out. So who knows if this film even would have ever got made even with the rights issues thing. Doctor Doom. In July of 2017, 20th Century Fox began work on a solo film focusing on Doctor Doom. Noah Hawley was set to write and direct the film, and everything was going very smooth for a while. The plot would have been about Victor Von Doom ruling Latveria with an iron fist. In other words, he would have been an evil leader ruling his country in an aggressive manner. Doom would have been very protective over his country, and he would have allowed no one in or out of Latveria. Eventually, a female journalist would have entered the country illegally, and it would have led to Doom getting angry with her and trying to kill her. Hawley described the film as a Cold War grounded geopolitical thriller, which honestly sounds badass in my opinion. This film would have been in its own universe, meaning it had nothing to do with the X-Men or 2015 Fantastic Four film or the early 2000s Fantastic Four films. Fox reportedly had their eyes on Mads Mikkelsen to deem the role of Doctor Doom, and filming was planned to begin in late 2018. Unfortunately, though, this film was cancelled due to the Fox-Disney merger. However, Hawley talked to Kevin Feige about having this film take place in the MCU. Feige was actually open to it as he loved the script, but Disney and the rest of Marvel Studios weren't crazy about the movie, unfortunately. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the video so far. Thank you so much for tuning in. The Hands of Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu. Not a ton of details are known about this specific project, but in 2001, Marvel began work on a solo Shang-Chi movie. Stephen Norrington, who is famous for directing the first Blade movie, was set to direct this film. Marvel also intended on this being the very first movie in their own cinematic universe, so this would have been the first movie in the MCU. Eventually, the project was canned because Marvel wasn't 100% confident in the whole thing, and they didn't think audiences truly wanted it, and apparently they wanted Jackie Chan to be in the movie and he was not interested at all. This next one seems like a joke, but no, I am not making this up. Go ahead and look up whatever you need to because this film is very real. Aunt May solo film. During the 2014 Sony email hack, it was revealed that Sony began work on an Aunt May solo film. This movie would have taken place in the Amazing Spider-Man universe, aka the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man films universe, and we would have seen a young Aunt May going on a James Bond spy type of adventure. The role would have not been played by Sally Field, as this version of Aunt May was in her late 20s. That's all the details we know, but yeah, that's definitely something. Spider-Man would have not been featured at all as Peter Parker, considering the fact that this time period doesn't take place in modern times. Although, hear me out though, I would have honestly preferred this film over a Morbius or Madam Web movie. It just sounds more badass. Anyways, that is going to conclude the video for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to see more videos like this, then in the link in the description below, I have canceled Marvel movies part 1, and also sources for everything in the video will be in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.